All right, Don. Well, thanks for joining the podcast today. We got Don Rasmussen. I hope I'm pronouncing that right, with
Yes, sir.
Augmenta here today. And we're going to talk about his company and some of the challenges that we see facing the construction engineering industry today, and some of the specific challenges that Augmenta might be facing. They've got a very interesting story with their technology. But I'll let Don talk a little bit more about that than myself because he knows a lot more about it than I do. But I think it'll be an interesting topic for the podcast today. So, uh, Don, if you could give us all, if you don't mind, give us all a little bit of background about Augmenta and then your role in the company.
Sure. Well, thanks, Tom, for inviting me today. Really do appreciate the time and the invite. Augmenta is an AI-based company that is really focused on the auto routing and auto production of all the engineered core systems that you find behind the walls of a building. We first went to market in February with our electrical offering, which is based upon overhead conduit automatic routing. And it is kind of tailored for electrical contractors at this time, although we do have electrical engineers who are our clients as well, and really focused on that handoff between engineering and contracting before the first coordination meeting where there isn't anything really populated inside of the model from a conduit perspective and allowing that population to happen very quickly, sometimes in a matter of a few hours. Uh, that is a produces a coordinated and structurally sound result that can be supported in a Revit model.
Very cool. Very interesting. It sounds like you guys are kind of on the cutting edge of this of using AI in the design industry, particularly right now in the electrical aspect of it. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's really where we're focused, and I do think that we are on the cutting edge of what's going on from an AI perspective. One of the things that's very interesting about our AI is that it's actually routing and producing a model for people to be able to use. It's not simply just focused on maybe parsing through some data or putting in some prompts to generate a result.
And from my understanding, the electrical piece of the design is normally towards the end of the design after everything else is in place, and you've got to kind of route the electrical conduits and the lines around everything else that's in the design. So you're kind of
Mhm.
near the end of the chain.
Yeah, traditional plan spec workflow, if you will, would have a lot of engineered systems kind of already modeled because that's part of the engineering process, right? For mechanical, the way you would size ductwork is you go through the process of design, right? And then that produces a model at the end. Same thing with plumbing or most piping systems. Electrical seems to be the only one that doesn't get a ton of modeling at the engineering phase in terms of what connects two items together. Most of that is left up to the contractor, and they're typically in a position of uh, really having to hurry in order to get something out for that first coordination meeting. And typically, it would be we would look at some areas and try to say, best guess, this is the space that we want to claim for where we're going to run our racks and items. And that has, led to some confusion, if you will, in the coordination process because it is still kind of a moving target when you get there. And we believe our solution allows those electrical contractors, especially, to be able to go to that first coordination meeting or two with a fully populated model with conduit that's accurate and that they intend to install in that location.
I see. So a lot of it comes down to what we call in Virginia, where I'm based, delegated design, where it's kind of the design for the electrical placements kind of left up to the contractor, and it sounds like they're coming to you to kind of help them out with that.
Absolutely.
Okay. So Don, what's your role with Augmenta specifically, and what's a typical day look like for you?
I'm the product owner here at Augmenta, and I also support the applications engineers as the AE manager. Typical day for me today is obviously supporting the product team and helping to push some of our, features and initiatives forward. Talking to a lot of clients. We're very big on feedback from our clients, and we allow our clients to drive how we're going to be developing our software and what the next feature is. So we try to be very responsive to them. The other half of my day supporting the applications engineers, again, is basically supporting clients, but these are clients that have projects going with us or they've purchased the software. We believe in, very high-end customer service. And so we're always trying to be as proactive as we possibly can be if anybody has any sort of challenges or questions around the software. One of the biggest things with AI is that AI can be quite literal. Um, it's not going to read certain things the way that we read certain things. And so guidance around what that means and how you set up a Revit model, for example, based upon that is really a good way to support our clients. And so we offer that as a service to them.
Okay. Now I know you're in the central time zone, but where exactly are you guys based?
I'm based out of Minneapolis, Minnesota, but we're a full remote company. We are actually all
Okay.
over the world.
That's what I was my next question. I imagine with this type of service that you can support anyone anywhere.
Yeah, we are mainly focused on the North American market right now, but our developers are, we have some in Europe, we have some in Canada, we have some in the US. We even have partnerships that are in South America. So we really do span the world.
Okay, great. Now I noticed, my next question was it's typically to talk about trends in the industry that you see, but it seems to me that you guys are a trend in the industry where you're going AI, but my experience too is the industry is a little bit slow to embrace AI. Do you see that too, or you kind of see the industry kind of rounding the corner on that?
I see it around in the corner a little bit. I just had the pleasure of coming back from AU last week, and there were lots of AI classes that were offered. A lot of them really based around prompts and ways you can use existing AI tools to generate results in some sort of design software. Uh, I do think that again, we are trending towards the trend, if you will. We are trying to really capture what AI is able to give us. One of our co-founder was kind of I struggle to say the inventor, but somebody who was very early on in generative AI creation and adoption. 13 years ago or so with Autodesk. And we just kind of tried to
Okay,
take a lot of that generative design thought process from something that's maybe more manufacturing and start to bring that into the construction space.
okay. Now you guys are right now you have the electrical capability. Are you developing any other design niches,
Mhm.
mechanical? Okay. Can you
Yeah,
talk a little bit
we have
about that?
plans. Yeah, absolutely. We have plans to get mechanical and or plumbing agents out. The beginning of that development will probably start sometime early next year. Excuse me. Uh, we are going to, go all the way to structure is kind of our dream. And so, like again, we dream of a day where an architectural shell will be able to be developed at some point, given client or customer feedback around the architect and things, we'll be able to create exactly the building that they want. And then someone will be able to hit a button and generate the structural, mechanical, electrical, plumbing, piping systems that have to support that building. And it would all be coordinated, obviously. We're really happy to be able to do something like that. Of course, we're starting with electrical. We've got some foothold in that market now, but really see it as an opportunity for people to really focus on buildings and the efficiency of buildings that we never really had before because we've been so time crunched. We have to just get the drawing out. We have to get the building built. Um, Nobody really goes to school to learn how to route conduit, for example, between a panel and a junction box. So
Right.
if we can take that workload off of them, that allows them to focus on the things that they actually did go to school for and the things that actually drive efficiency, not only just on the project, but over the 60-year life cycle of the building.
Okay. So you guys aren't looking to replace architects in full or anything like that. It's more of an assistance.
That's exactly how we're seeing it, Tom.
Okay.
We don't want to replace modelers, and nor do we think AI is going to replace modelers at least anytime soon. It's more of a shifting of resources, right? Uh, we're all aware in the construction industry that there's a gap in terms of hiring resources. It's hard to find laborers, it's hard to find good modelers, it's hard to find people who want to get into this industry, and so this is kind of an answer to that can help you. But again, it's really just we see it as a shift of focus. rather than spending all your time worrying about how something routes in the building or it fits, we can have AI generate that for us. And then we can look at that solution. We can iterate on that solution, and we can do things like rearrange an electrical room, for example, as we're switching out submittals and switching out the parts of the model from something that's more general to the actual part that's going to be there. A lot of the times our electrical rooms lose space and we need to reconfigure those items in there. And in the past, what we would have to do is just kind of rearrange them and explain verbally why these need to be rearranged and how much that might help, say, a routing or something else that's going to happen later on. With our tool, now you have the ability to say, well, I'll model it twice. I'll model it the way that you have it, and I'll model it the way that I want it. And now we can bring both of those examples to a coordination or a third or a fourth. Part of the awesomeness of our tool is that when things are sent up to be processed from an AI perspective in the cloud, Revit is not locked up. And so you're able to change things about the model and then send another model to the cloud for iteration. So you can iterate quickly, almost simultaneously with the software.
That's pretty cool. And I imagine, in my experience, I've in government, we have a lot of historic buildings, and our electrical closets are small, and there's no real way to expand them. And then we do a renovation, and it seems like the electrical room is not big enough. But I imagine that your tool would help with problems like that, um, just by seeking, more efficient solutions. Would that be true?
Yeah, we're not going to necessarily resize the electrical room for you, but we could definitely
Hmm.
prove out that uh, if an electrical contractor or engineer says you need more space, here's why they say you need more space. Um, what's also been very nice that a lot of our engineering clients are doing is they're doing, like, say, copper versus aluminum feeder studies. In those scenarios when you're asked by a client, very rarely does the client understand the spatial difference and the impact on other trades moving forward, going from, say, for example, 12 4-inch conduits to 20 some odd 6-inch conduits when you make that
Right.
switch. And our system allows you to not only model that out, but then bring that into Revit, compare that with other models, and look at what cost impacts might be down the road.
Right. So where do you see Augmenta, 2 years from now, 5 years from now? What's the future hold for you guys?
Well, 2 years from now, I hope we're kind of wrapped up with electrical and we're really just dial tuning it for impact, making sure that it's super accurate and people don't have to have as much editing time with it. In the 2 years, I also hope to have some sort of mechanical and or plumbing agent out. What specific subdiscipline we decide to focus on when we go that direction, we haven't really decided yet. But in 2 years, I'd like to make sure that we have electrical pretty much wrapped up, and then moving forward with some at least betas, if not some alphas of a mechanical and a plumbing agent. 5 years from now, I hope that we're got those pretty much wrapped up, and we're moving on to maybe structural elements.
How are you getting the word out about Augmenta and its capabilities?
We've been using LinkedIn a lot. We have, of course, marketing. We've been going to a lot of trade shows here this year. Last year, we did have the ability to go present at some trade shows, and that was very nice. This is the first year that we've run a booth. Um, the booth, at least at AU, which I attended, was a very heavily visited booth, and so I think that a lot of people are talking about us now post AU, even though it's only been a couple days. We seem to be getting a lot of traffic through our inbox, and a lot of people requesting demonstrations to see what the software is capable of.
Now, is there anything in your business that you see as a pain point or a trouble spot right now? You're still growing the business, but is there something that it's being difficult to kind of get over the hump on, or what are your pain points right now?
Pain points right now is just simple scalability. We're a startup company, and with startup companies, things can go very slow and then they can go very fast. And we're kind of in that very fast stage. And so it's really just making sure that we have the correct internal processes put in place to make sure that nothing's falling through the cracks and that information is being exchanged between teams accurately and quickly so that that can be done. Uh, as we start to scale up, obviously the one-on-one communications and just simply calling somebody or messaging somebody, that gets a little bit more difficult. We're finding that, or at least I'm finding that personally, um, being very intentional about what our strategies are, what our internal processes are, and what our communications are is really helping to help that scalability grow as we add on new people. And then, of course, we are hiring applications engineers and things like that, people who are here to support our clients. And good ones of those are pretty much like a unicorn. They're very hard to find, just like it's hard to find really good experienced modelers from the field in the construction industry. We're kind of looking for those same people.
But you can look for them kind of worldwide because of the nature
Correct.
of your business. They don't have to be in Minneapolis there sitting next to you.
Yeah,
So,
that does make it a little bit easier that you're not limited to a location.
right. So you can get some real experts in there helping you guys out. So that's great. Now, do you guys use AI and other aspects of your business? Obviously, you're an AI company, but as far as your marketing and things like that,
We don't really use AI for final result. We may use AI to start generating some ideas and things like that. I think that, AI is a great tool out there for everybody to be able to use. It's not going to be a solutions solver for you now. It might be a solutions provider for you now, but it's not going to
right?
solve a lot of the problems that we have today. But it's a great research tool. It's a great assistant tool for a lot of things, penning emails the right way, for example, making sure that you know what is available out there, what's being said about your company, for example. You can use a lot of AI agents to scour the internet for you to make sure that you're targeting your communications and that your communications are being understood by your clients. So it's a very useful tool. I would definitely encourage everybody who's listening to at least look into AI and start figuring out how to leverage it best for you. There's a lot of power there that can make your day quite a bit more efficient.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, is there anything else that you'd like to talk about Augmenta to get the word out about you guys and everything that you're doing, all the good things and uh, innovations that you're coming up with?
Yeah, so we're looking to release our underground agent right now. As I mentioned earlier, we're focused mainly on overhead conduit, but our underground agent will be coming soon, and that will allow people to be able to route basically their entire system with the conduit with our agent. So a lot of our clients that are using the system today are kind of faking underground with the system, and they've discovered rather the ability to do that. We also are working on a cable tray agent that isn't released yet, but our clients have found ways to leverage what ACP is capable of today to help them auto route cable tray as well. So it's really the creativity of our clients that's giving us a lot of inspiration as to how we can kind of move forward in the best manner. Uh, but it just in general, I mean, I'm really excited about what we're doing here. Uh, we really do envision us as a way to not only get some time back for people, but to kind of change the way buildings have been designed for millennia, really. Uh, we've never really had the opportunity coming from more of a mechanical background when I was a designer, never really had the opportunity to iterate and perfect and look at things like energy efficiencies because the time wasn't always there. You were just pressed to get that model out. But when you think about, is something really the least amount of wire, linear footage of wire for one design versus another? Is something really have the least amount of static pressure, the least amount of head pressure in the system? Uh, Again, we've kind of always developed a design based around some experience from a senior person, and then we
Right.
might look at that design and say, well, let's tweak something at this corner, tweak something at this corner, but a holistic view of, is this the most efficient way to accomplish this task? we've we really haven't traditionally had time for in the construction industry.
Yeah, that's pretty exciting. It'll certainly increase the efficiencies of the way we do business. I was curious about the size of the projects that you guys have worked on. What's it? I mean, I imagine there's no bounds either, no bounds too large or too small for using Augmenta's technology.
Well, that's absolutely right, Tom. We've done everything up to a 400,000 square foot data center with about 500 runs to stress test the system. Most
Hmm.
of the projects that we get from clients are anywhere from 100 to 150 runs, somewhere in that area, and they're all different building types. Warehouse with retail, uh, education facilities. we've done a couple hospitals, we've done some lab spaces, and we're getting pretty good results with them. The way that the project site would be viewed by the system is really dependent upon the size and the complexity of said site. And so, for example, with the data center, data centers can be quite typical. And so we just break them up into the more typical areas. And then we maybe just run one study across the entire building to find the feeders, locations, and things like that. So it's not as simple as we can take everything that we ingest into a Revit model and throw that up there and let it run. There has to be some sort of interaction and thought process with it. But yeah, the capabilities are pretty substantial. We were able to run that data center and get 12 solutions back on that data center in about 26 hours of generation time.
Really? 12 different solutions, huh? I have to imagine that's a pretty good market for you with all the data centers that are being built all over the world these days, and certainly the electrical requirements with those. So that's got to be a great market for you guys.
Yeah, it certainly is driving a lot of excitement in the electrical world. To take something that typically takes about 6 months worth of work to under a week's worth of work, and then still have the time to examine it, iterate on it, and maybe run it again is pretty substantial.
Yeah, yeah. And I imagine it reduces mistakes that might come about and eliminates problems that come up during construction. So you're not having to go back to the drawing board and figure out
Hmm.
a new solution. So that's very exciting and must be exciting for you guys and exciting for all the folks that are discovering you and being able to use your tool because it sure sounds like it's going to make life a lot easier for designers and ultimately contractors and speed up the design and the construction process along the way. So I'll be anxious to hear about the developments into the mechanical and the plumbing too because that'll be awesome to have a tool like that as well once you guys launch it. So
Yeah, well, like I mentioned, I'm hoping to start development on that here. See, rather, we are hoping to start development on that here very, very soon, coming up in the next 6 months or so. But yeah, being an old mechanical guy, I'm very excited to get the mechanical and the plumbing agents going.
yeah, I'll bet. Well, is there anything else that you want to add to our discussion here today, Don, before we kind of wrap things up?
I just thank you so much, Tom, for inviting me on the podcast. And if anybody would like to check us out, they can go to augmenta.ai and visit our website, ability to book a demo, and then kind of track us and see what we're up to.
Okay, that sounds fantastic. Okay, Don. Well, thanks very much for being on today, and I hope to catch up with you again here soon.
Sounds good, Tom. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
All right.